Okay, so in the words of Thanos, what I had predicted came to pass. We immediately have Donald Trump making a press conference, immediately trying to blame the radical left. I again mentioned yesterday, this is the next day by the way, that people started immediately blaming gay people and transgenders and those in the LGBTQ community. I saw that people were trying to bring up statistics of mass shootings and just murders in general brought up by those of the LGBTQ community being very minimal, I think around like 5 to 10 or something like that, and then just mass shootings in general. So several sources, including the Violent Project, indicate that less than 1% of mass shootings have been committed by transgendered individuals. In August of 2025, studies from Williams Institute noted that if transgendered people make up the 1% of the U.S. population, their representation as mass shooters is below what we'd expect based on their population size. And then there's also studies that kind of emphasize that LGBTQ plus people are far more likely to be the victims of the violence. There's many studies that are kind of corroborating this fact. There's also links to these kind of things. Everytown for Gun Safety has published data highlighting the disproportionate impact of gun homicides on transgendered and gendered expansive people, and this is just blatant misinformation reported by organizations like GLAAD and PolitiFact debunk these claims, noting that they're often fueled by just anti-trans rhetoric, which of course it is, we already know that, but because it's being spewed out into the social media space, and especially by the President of the United States and just other stupid people from Reddit or wherever they're from, this just incites more violence. They're essentially weaponizing the tragedy of Charlie Kirk having been assassinated and his life taken from him at a fairly young age and leaving behind his children without a father. And like I said, it was only expected that no matter how much politeness and consideration and grievances and condolences that we give to the family and try to unite ourselves as people, left or right, whichever, I don't care. And the fact that he himself, Charlie Kirk, has promoted that he's still all for guns being owned. It doesn't matter if there's murders every year, that those murders are what keeps us as free people. He said that himself. He said that we deserve to stone the gays to death. He's also promoted all this hateful rhetoric. And as much as I keep watching those videos and I keep seeing those clips of him saying stupid shit over the years and Donald Trump glazing his cock, I still disagree that him being shot to death was warranted at all. I disagree with it heavily. I do not find this to be a peaceful solution to help people kind of get on middle terms with each other. And again, as much as I show sympathy and as much as we show compassion and consideration for both sides, no matter the person, we still have Donald J. cocksucking dipshit Trump making these claims and statements that this was by the radical left and Joe Biden did this and this was planned by the Obamas and whatever the fuck. And this is kind of similar to the assassination attempt that happened with Trump, where they were trying to blame the leftist radical group or whatever that were so violent, or they're so fucking disgusting people and they've caused all the atrocities around the country, when you look statistically at the reports, you know, PolitiFact and GLAAD and all these other news outlets like Ground News, it leans more towards the right-wing extremism, but they completely negate that and they try to lie about it and just simply scream fake news, as he always does. That's just his one and only tactic that he's very familiar with. And it's happening again. It's happening again, as something that, again, I already predicted. Far-right terrorists committed 67% of the attacks and plots between January and August of 2020, while far-left terrorists committed only 20% of the attacks. This is back in 2020 and post-2020. The focus on the fatalities are that while the far-right violence has historically been more lethal, left-wing extremists also engage in violence, including assaults, firebombs, and arsons. The right-wing extremists have been responsible for far greater percentages of attacks and plots and the fatalities resulting from them compared to the left-wing extremists. However, it's important to be aware of the nuances and political limitations of the available data while evaluating the threat of politically motivated violence, which is accurate and true. There's always been a lot of cases and stories where we hear about people being killed and stabbed because, you know, anti-Trump beliefs and whatnot. From 2020, far-right extremists have committed 67% of the attacks and plots. Far-left extremists committed 20% of the attacks and plots. Oh yeah, the attacks related to Tesla and Elon Musk have occurred, including arson and vandalism. He was also a right-wing extremist. Yeah, it's a lot when you look at the numbers. You gotta look at Ground News to kind of compare the news and the statistics with each other, but Like I said,
For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today.
no, that's really not it. It's because of his behaviors and the stupid shit that he says. Yeah, this is really fucking sad that the president and fucking all these political parties, especially the Republicans right now, because literally the only thing I've ever seen on the internet from yesterday and a little bit today was that people of both sides, Democrats I've been seeing, have given their condolences. They've given a moment of silence and some respect, which in my opinion is definitely not deserved of a type of human being such as this, but we've given it anyway. No matter the kindness of gestures and respect that we give to people, even the people that we dislike and we disagree with, it still falls on deaf ears. Again, I've said this yesterday, and this is exactly the result that I predicted. I already knew this was going to happen. Someone commented, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. That's tragic, full stop. 100% agree with this. But let's not rewrite the man's record. He publicly opposed the Civil Rights Act. He mocked George Floyd almost like weekly. I've seen a lot of the tweets. People were pulling up conversations of anything and everything tagged George Floyd. He was absolutely relentless and just unforgiving to the Black Lives Matter movement and to the riots as well. He said that he feared flying with black pilots and vowed to force his daughter to carry a pregnancy even after rape. I remember there was an interview where a girl was asking, even if they were raped, would you force them to keep the child? And he said absolutely yes. You are carrying that man's child and you need to give birth to that human being on God's will, on God's good given word. And again, this is where I hate that people misuse theology and ideology, and they promote some of the most heinous shit that you would ever see and hear in your life, and it's disgusting. Sorry about not having empathy for someone who didn't extend it to others. It's just a normal human reaction. You're not obligated to manufacture sorrow and empathy for anyone. Should it have happened? Fuck no. But does everyone also have to feel bad? Also no. However, I do feel terrible for his wife and kids, as someone commented, and I'm finding myself in agreement with it the more I keep looking at literally Charlie Kirk's Twitter page and just, again, the videos that I've seen over the years and statements and comments that I've heard and just the incitement of violence that he keeps putting out into the world. His extremist views, again, whether they're his opinions and he's making just a statement, whatever, you can say whatever you want. You have the freedom of speech, but as I said before, you do not have the freedom of consequence. Understandably, there's going to be people that are irritated and upset, so while we are trying to give the most respect as much as possible, there are going to be people that are sadly not going to have as much sympathy as you would like for them to. Again, a lot of the people on the internet that I've been seeing, I haven't been seeing a lot of people celebrating, and if there are, I'm sure there are because it's the fucking internet, then, you know, fuck those people. They're disgusting human beings. Whether they're left or right, we don't give a shit. We're trying to come together as people and we're trying to help each other. And again, like I said, Donald Trump and other people of the Republican Party, they're taking this as a moment to go after the gay people, to go after the radical left. They're already trying to put blame on their previous political opponents. The propaganda that they're trying to push is very, very polarizing and controversial. I mean, people are saying that Charlie Kirk is a hero. He took a bullet for America. The same thing that they said for Donald Trump. And again, I really disagree about it. I really disagree with it, is what I meant to say. So while people like Kira is saying Charlie Kirk is a father, husband, he is a human, I don't care if you politically disagree with him, nothing justifies the sick act, I 100% agree with that. Another person, however, retweeted it and quoted that this happened to every child and father in Gaza and he cheered for it. So stop pulling those victim cards. So when Putin is killed, are we supposed to show our respect, to give our condolences, send our prayers, call him a family man? Fuck out of here. That's a comment that someone else has made. Charlie Kirk's murder happened on the first stop of his Prove Me Wrong, the America Comeback Tour campaign that he was doing, which I didn't know that's what he was doing. I thought he was just at a school doing regular bullshit where he's spreading more propaganda and stupid racism crap and, you know, sexist and misogynistic comments that he always has. But I am seeing the banner now. It does say Prove Me Wrong. And again, as people are pointing out, he did say that guns are warranted and it's something that should be kept in the United States of America, even at the cost of people dying. And almost immediately after he said that, yeah, I mean, he does become subject to such statistics. Someone also pulled up a screenshot from 2015 of Charlie Kirk saying, hashtag say something nice about Hillary. She dodges sniper fire. So that's hilarious. But when it happens to him, it's not hilarious. Understood. Someone else said, if you feel bad about Charlie Kirk, go spend 3 minutes looking at his Twitter account, which I did. That's exactly why I'm making this follow-up video, because you know, I disagree with him a lot. I think, personally, my opinion, under my freedom of speeches and protections, that he is not a good person that they're proclaiming that he is. I could use obscenities and curse words and whatnot to describe my true feelings on this, but again, as much as I would like to, I'm trying to show good behavior. I'm trying to show the Republicans that not everyone is out here to be assholes. So I'm going to do something a little different and try to do this as respectful as possible, even though my blood's boiling and I'm very angry looking at all these messages and videos of Charlie Kirk at the moment. Someone actually tried to counter that, saying, if you feel bad for George Floyd, check out what he did with his life. And then someone responded, wait until you hear about our president. Yeah, and then he also demanded the pardon for Derek Kavanaugh. I don't even know what his name is. I don't care about him. James Wood on Twitter also posted, it's not gun violence, it's Democrat violence. Again, after just reading the statistics and going over everything, and you can do so yourself with your own research. When lawmaker Melissa Hortman was murdered, did you call it Republican violence? No, you didn't, so fuck you, asshole. And that's a really good point. In response to that, someone actually put, the left did not assassinate Charlie Kirk, the right did not assassinate Melissa Hortman and her husband. An individual did, a sick individual. Anyone claiming collective guilt is trying to manipulate you. And again, this goes in part with what I'm saying about segregation and just trying to get everyone to be riled up against each other, arguing with each other. This is exactly the worst time to be doing that. This is a terrible thing to be doing. And not only is this a terrible moment, it happened yesterday as of this recording that I'm doing right now, this second session recording, but Trump is weaponizing it as much as he can, and it's sick and degrading. We already know Trump is a shit human being. He's terrible, and of course he would do something like this, of course. But then if this were to happen to him next time, where he does actually become the victim of a shooting and he does pass away, they're going to be expecting us to be calm and peaceful and respectful. Meanwhile, they're just spewing hateful rhetoric and trying to blame any and all sides for this, whether it's Jews or Ukrainians or gays or blacks or Mexicans or whatever the fuck. It's already happening now. It's gonna happen again. It's like there's no point in trying to be nice, even though I'm trying my best to. Again, I'm shaking with anger. There's no point in trying to be nice, because it's like they don't accept it. They don't want to even recognize it or just say, thank you, we need some time to process this. To our Democrats, while we have many disagreements on everything, we appreciate the time that you're taking to show your condolences and respects for this man that we've loved, because obviously the Republicans keep glazing him. Even right now, they're calling him a hero of our generation, and he took a bullet for America, like I said earlier. Someone also posted, by the way, according to Charlie Kirk's logic, his death is his own fault, not the shooters. And he tags a tweet from 2013 saying, the death of women and children in Gaza are the fault of Hamas, not Israel. Just like the deaths in Japan during World War II were the fault of Japan, not America, because of the whole retaliation thing that we had going on. When a government engages in unprovoked murderous aggressions, they are the blame for everything that results. So what he's talking about in that tweet is the cause and effect, right? So the cause of, in this case, Japan during World War II, they bombed Pearl Harbor. Because of the cause of their actions, the effect was the retaliation and the bombing of Hiroshima with the atom bomb. Or was it the hydrogen bomb? I think it was the atom bomb. So that's what Charlie Kirk was referencing in that tweet, and Hassan is logically in the correct agreement, talking about his death is his own fault because of his own behaviors and actions towards the people around the planet. Rob Smith said on Twitter, Charlie Kirk is a literal American hero. Please pray for this man and his family. Whereas he actually got outvoted by a couple people that he didn't deserve violence. No one does. But a hero? No. He was a radical propagandist who spoke a lot of hate against people who didn't think like him. Someone said, not agreeing with someone is not hating them. However, the counterpoint was, and this is a long tweet, he regularly attacked the LGBTQ community, saying God's perfect law says gay people shall be stoned to death. He claimed the Civil Rights Act was a mistake, which we talked about this before, and he called Martin Luther King Jr. an awful person. He mocked the 2023 political assault on Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, and even suggested someone should bail his assailant out of jail, which I remember that. Kirk even attempted to link Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to an assassination of Walz's close friend and ally, State Senator Melissa Hortman, which we talked about. And in Stacey Penton's own words, his so-called professor watch list, run under the umbrella of Turning Point USA, is nothing more than a digital hit list for academics who dare to speak truth to power. Kirk's watch list has terrorized legions and professors across the country, women, black faculty, queer scholars, basically anyone who challenged the white supremacy, gun culture, or Christian nationalism suddenly found themselves targeted of coordinated abuse. Some received death threats, some had their jobs threatened, some left the academia entirely. Kirk sent the loud message to us, speak the truth and we will unleash the mob. Again, Kirk's words. This is not trying to shit on him, this is just speaking fact. This is the culture of violence that Charlie Kirk has built. He normalizes violence. He curated it. He monetized it and insisted to anyone who dared to puncture his movement's lies. While I'm not in total agreement of these comments at the moment, I'm trying to, again, give respect to the families and to the Republicans, even though, again, they truly do not deserve it. But just to show that there's not all bad people out there, I am doing so. Yeah, he should not be celebrated. That's my First Amendment freedom of speech opinion on the situation. And a lot of these comments are based on fact. They're not meant to target him or harass him or the family, and they're definitely not spreading lies. These are literal clips with sources, screenshots of things that he has said. So none of what I'm reading is meant to just be hurtful for the sake of being hurtful. It's just a discussion on his behaviors and the person he was and the disagreements which we are allowed to have, that people are saying that he's a hero and some people are saying no, he's not.
I had several Democrats objecting, pointing out that there was also a school shooting earlier in the day, which we'll also talk about soon, and saying that there was no prayer for those kids. But then you had Anna Paulina Luna, a Florida Republican who was close to Kirk, starting to angrily yell back, saying to Democrats, you all caused this. And then as other Republicans began yelling at Democrats, you had at least one Democrat responding, pass some gun laws. But then many noting that Utah, where Kirk was killed, it has some of the most relaxed gun laws in the country, allowing the purchase and possession of...
I am in true disbelief of that comment. The fact that a Republican had screamed at the Democratic Party saying that you all caused this, I'm in true disbelief that that's what they believe. That's what that person screamed out and truly believes with her whole heart and soul. They did not. That is just a fact. Again, if we're talking about Charlie Kirk's previous tweet where he's mentioning cause and effect, how the Japanese did this to themselves, how Hamas did this to themselves, whatever the fuck the case, the gays did this to themselves, whatever. And George Floyd did this to himself. Then if we're continuing off of his legacy and his logic and they're praising him as a hero and a legendary man of the right-wing extremist party, whatever they're promoting on Twitter right now, especially Donald Trump himself, then you should also follow the logic that this is not a Democratic fault, this is a Republican fault. This is a ideology fault, if you really want to blame it on a political party. I'm saying this is more of an ideology fault because I don't want to blame a political party because people from both sides can think stupid. That's perfectly normal. That's fine. That's just how it is. People are people, not left or right. So if you really want to go by that logic, then you want to respect Charlie Kirk, I would heavily suggest looking in the mirror and thinking about your own statement there because that is highly inaccurate. Also, with the school shooting going on, of course, that's going to be overshadowed because Charlie Kirk was Republican and part of the government, and it's a political thing. But as soon as it comes to dead kids, we're just going to ignore that part. It's not like the gruesome, horrifying video that we saw of Charlie Kirk getting blasted in the throat, blood gushing out endlessly, seeing him twitch one final time before he drops to the floor. All of a sudden, we're just like, yeah, but the kids can handle it. They'll be fine, right? Like, we just want to ignore the school shooting that's happened as well at the same time.
Firearms in most cases without a permit or a license. And then also with that, you had people pointing to, in May, Utah lawmakers actually updating state law to allow the open carry of weapons with a permit on college campuses. Though with that, I want to say we do not know if stricter gun laws there at this time would have actually helped in this specific case.
See, this is why we talk about stricter gun laws and gun reform. But people want to bitch and cry that we're taking guns completely away. It's like, that would be the ideal dream. But no, that's not what we're asking for. We're asking for a medium. Gun laws being more strict, more security, more background checks, mental health checks, things like that. People that shouldn't have guns need to have it taken away. And then they went more... They're in a state where it's more relaxed on the gun laws, where you're able to actually just open carry and bring it around you to campus and whatnot. Statistically, logically, mathematically, something was bound to happen. That's not an opinion. That's a fucking fact. God, this fucking irritates me because it's like, if you would just fucking think about it, it makes sense, right? Like, what the fuck do you expect? But people want to argue so religiously about something that can just be met in the middle to make everyone safer and to get rid of guns where they don't belong. Because the thing is, too, the fact is that people are going to argue, well, if I didn't carry my gun, I wouldn't have stopped the shooter. Did you stop the shooter? No. Did they jump off a roof and get away? Yeah. A bullet can travel faster and kill someone within minutes. To be able to call for help, 911, especially to communicate with any decent dispatcher, and then to have someone arrive on the scenes would take 10 minutes at least. Not only have to bring him into the car and try to stabilize the person, the vehicle, I mean, but then you have to travel them to the nearest hospital to get them treatment. Like, the gun is going to win. 99% of the time, the gun is going to win.
I think this is horrific, disgusting, wrong, no matter our differences of opinion and politics. I denounce political violence, and I'm sending my thoughts, my well wishes, and my prayers to Charlie's family and loved ones. And also, as far as the situation as a whole, I hope and pray that there can be a cooling down, a dialogue, but I also fear that what has happened is going to be used to unleash horror. But for now, we'll have to wait and see.
Again, my truest, genuine condolences to the family and anyone that cared about this human being as a person. While I do not respect him as a man, I still want to respect the fact that he was human, and to have his life taken so quickly from unnecessary violence, no matter the political party, no matter the religion or sex affiliation, whatever the fuck. None of that matters. This is about a bad person doing a bad thing. But especially my condolences to the children. I am so sorry that they have lost their father. As I mentioned before, I've seen a lot of kids grow up without their parents or with their parents, and they see how terrible their parents can be and they can change their lives for the better. I made the example before, but like Elon Musk, and I'm saying his name again because I saw his tweet just now about him talking about this being a fucking leftist, democratic, whatever thing that we're causing violence, whatever. His stupid dumbass means nothing to me. I'm just completely ignoring him because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's not a smart man. But anyway, the kids could have grown up in a way where they would notice their father's behaviors and patterns and disagree with it, because they could have made their own friends from school or from anywhere around the world just by traveling. And they could have grown up to be better people than him and show their father that there is better ways to handle life, and there is better ways to communicate with other people and to make friends and to see other sides of the journey of life that we all have to go through. Or who knows, maybe they would have fallen in line completely and grown up exactly like him. But I think that him being taken away only exemplifies the fact that now they are going to grow up with hate. Now they are going to grow, especially if they're hearing the President of the United States say the most stupid shit in the world. I think the kids will end up growing up with hate and wanting to avenge their father by continuing to carry out his political motives and his political speeches. And then we just have history repeating again, but now with his children and the future generation to come. I think all this did was just make everything worse, instead of giving people the relief and like the hope that the shooter was probably looking for. But I don't know. We'll have to see what happens from this. All we can do is try to be better people than those we disagree with, even though they will never see the politeness and the empathy and care that we try to show, no matter how much we try to provide factual information, no matter how much we do anything to try to be good people. It'll never be seen. They'll still be ignorant, and they'll continue to weaponize the situation as much as they can. And I'm not talking about political parties. When I say they, I just mean terrible people at heart. Whether that's Alex Jones, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Andrew Tate, Ben Shapiro, whatever, you know. I'm talking about bad people, truly disgusting people from the soul. I'm talking about those kind of people, Donald Trump especially. This is not in relation to any political party or affiliation or ethnicity or race or religious ideals or belief. These are just my thoughts that as people, there are shitty people in the world and there are good people. That's all it is. Stop making this about men, women, gays, trans, Muslims, whatever the fuck. Please. This shit needs to stop, honestly.